The lawsuit basically claims that Universal Music Group uh, defamed Drake through the use of Kendrick Lamar's "Not Like Us."
Trap music history expert A.R. Shaw.
A.R. Shaw. A.R. Shaw. A.R. Shaw. A.R. Shaw.
A.R. Shaw, author of Trap History, Atlantic Culture, and the Global Impact of Trap Music.
Drake's lawyers are saying that because Kendrick said those words about Drake, that people began to wanted to incite violence against him. So, one of the things that this lawsuit does is that it takes rap lyrics and it tries to use the rap lyrics against UMG. In the lawsuit, the lawyers, basically Drake's lawyers, are saying that this is not a lawsuit against Kendrick Lamar itself. However, it uses Kendrick Lamar's lyrics within this lawsuit. One of the lyrics, it says, of course, it's certified lover boy, certified PDF file. He's saying that Drake's lawyers are saying that Kendrick basically called Drake a PDF by using these lyrics. Several lyrics are pulled out. Another lyric that the lawyers got wrong is one of the lyrics where Kendrick Lamar says, the Oakland stop is going to be your last. It's going to be your last stop. But basically, that's what that's one of the lyrics that Kendrick says. And so, in a lawsuit, Drake's lawyer says the recording threatens that if Drake comes to Oakland, where Lamar grew up. Now, everybody knows Kendrick Lamar did not grow up in Oakland, California, which is totally false. Kendrick Lamar grew up in Compton, by way of Chicago. His parents are from Chicago. So he was raised in Compton, but this lawsuit falsely says that Kendrick grew up in Oakland and says that that Drake would not make it out alive. Um, Another thing that was very perplexing is that they tried this. His lawyers basically said that Kendrick was going against Drake's Jewish heritage by saying that Drake is not a colleague, he's a colonizer. Totally false. Totally false. Now, for those who got a chance to actually listen to the lyric, I did a whole breakdown of the Atlanta verse on Not Like Us. In Not Like Us, that Atlanta verse is basically a response to Drake. Several responses to Drake by Kendrick. One was a response where Drake, Kendrick, Drake was, basically said that that Kendrick was rapping within the battle. He was saying Kendrick was rapping like he was trying to get the slaves freed. That was one thing that Drake said, that Kendrick was rapping like he was trying to get the slaves freed. And Kendrick and Drake has used slaves, the word slave, American slaves, in several disparaging instances. He had a song with SZA. I think the song was called "Slam You Out," where Drake said that it was a line where he says something about whips and chains like American slaves, something of that nature, right? Another thing was Kendrick was hinting at Drake being a colonizer was that his use of the N word. Of course, in Euphoria, Kendrick says he doesn't want you to say the N word. He told Drake that he don't want him to say the N word anymore. Drake responded to Kendrick saying that by starting Family Matters off with him saying the N word after his mother told him, maybe you shouldn't use the N word. So that line when Kendrick says you're not a colleague, you're a colonizer, and he goes deep into this Atlanta verse and talks about how Atlanta was was a mecca. It was a place where people would extract culture, people would extract workers, and we're seeing the same thing happen today with Atlanta culture in terms of hip hop. And Kendrick was basically making the point that Drake doesn't really have a culture of his own, is that he uses other cultures outside of his culture to make himself relevant. When he goes to Atlanta, he wants to stand next to Future, he wants to stand next to 21, he wants to stand next to Lil Baby, he wants to stand next to all these rappers who can kind of give him a credibility that he really doesn't own per se, that he didn't really grow up in, right? So I think that was just like one of the most, to me, was one of the most, that was one of the most diabolical moves within this lawsuit, is that he claimed that Kendrick was going after Drake's. The lawyers claimed that Kendrick was going after Drake's Jewish heritage with Not Like Us, and I would say that's further from the truth. I think being someone who's studied hip hop, who's covered hip hop for over a decade, I could tell you through the use of Kendrick's lyrics, it wasn't about Drake's Jewish heritage. It was more about Drake not being connected to Black culture in a way, and his disrespect for Black culture and his disrespect for hip hop culture, in a sense.